Hello there, Pursuing Freedom listeners, and thanks for tuning in today. We've got an awesome interview for you today with CJ Davies with Davies and DeGennaro Real Estate in Long Beach Island, New Jersey. And CJ was introduced to me by my longtime friend, Mike Carvajal, who is actually a mortgage lender out there in Long Beach Island. He's with Equity Prime, by the way, so if you're in the Jersey area, or California or Hawaii, you got to look up Mike. He's an awesome dude. Anyhow, back to CJ, who's going to be sharing a bunch of knowledge with us today. I'm really excited to dig into this one. CJ got into real estate at the age of 21, joined his family company, but was pretty much thrown in the fire like the rest of us have been, and has been doing real estate for 11 years and has a great, successful business out there in New Jersey. And what I'm really excited to chat about is business in a resort town, because Long Beach Island, much like where I am in the mountains of Colorado, is a second home town. And so there's a good mix, I'm sure, of primary residences as well as second homes, and how we market and how we grow in those types of markets is different than some other cities. So we're going to dig into family business, resort town, all that good stuff. So with no further ado, CJ, if you could go ahead and introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about your backstory of you getting into real estate and what your journey has looked like up to now, and we'll kind of go from there.
Sure. Just want to say thank you, Erin, for bringing me on the show, and thank you, Mike, for referring me, because always fun to talk with people about our business and learn from you guys as well. So I grew up on Long Beach Island, which is a barrier island in southern Jersey. I was there until I was 27 years old. So family business started in 1989 when my father and mother moved from Pennsylvania to start a building company as well as a real estate company. So they did a lot of land development, new construction, spec building, all that type of business. And once I graduated college, I went to UNCW down in North Carolina and studied marketing, kind of knowing that I wanted to get into the real estate business. And right after college, came home and dove right in. So I've been doing it ever since.
Awesome. So now, how many people make up the company now? Is it all family members, or are there others as well?
We actually just hired 2 non-family members. It originally started my father, Mark, my mother, Kim, my Aunt Diane, my Uncle Bill, and Michelle DeGennaro, who was not related, but was, working with my dad for years and years.
She was allowed in because of the last name. No.
Yeah.
Everybody else is Davies then, right?
Yeah, Davies. Yeah, Davies okay. And Merchant. So
okay, got it.
Now it's just me, my father, my uncle, and we just hired 2 new agents.
Okay, awesome. And then you mentioned a marketing degree. So I'm curious, just based on the age and, the kind of marketing that we're seeing in today's day and age in real estate. So, what kind of marketing strategies are you implementing in your business? Are you someone that uses a lot of social media? Are you doing Zillow leads? Like, what kind of presence do you have personally with your own business?
Yeah, that's actually exactly what we do. We rely heavily on marketing through Zillow, which there's 2 parts of it, actually. We have the new leads that come in based on our zip code, which tend to be very good leads. But then I have all my past clients send reviews in that help me tremendously. I think I have 36 reviews or something like that, and they are continuously growing and are always positive, and it provides a very good platform for me where I show up in people's searches and they can see how many people I've helped, and hopefully they become another person that I'll be able to help as well.
Awesome. So we've actually never talked about Zillow, I don't think, on the show here. And I'm curious, because I don't go on there myself very often. If someone's listening and they've worked with you already and they wanted to go ahead and leave a review for you, can they just search your name, CJ Davies, on Zillow and find you? Or how does that work? Or do you have to send it?
Yes, they can. They can. So they can search my profile. It says search for agents. You can type my name in. The reviews can pop up there. There's also links that I could email, text, or go straight through the website that handle that as well.
All right. Well, then we have to do the public service announcement right now. I mean, if you've worked with
there we go.
Give that dude a review. Get out there. Come on. Everybody needs to be giving reviews, people. Come on. Help us out.
That does help my business tremendously, is the positive feedback from other people. And it's always great to hear everybody's story as well.
Okay, awesome. So let's talk a little bit about, you mentioned social media. So I, for one, don't consider myself very good at this social media thing other than wanting to, be validated if somebody refers me. Are you using Facebook ads and Instagram ads to generate leads, or are you just trying to have a presence so that if you get referred and people search for you, they find something? Does that make sense?
I've used Facebook ads a fair amount to generate leads, but what I find helps me the most is just my positive experiences and connecting with people I'm already friends with, who then are friends with more friends that I'm friends with, and just posting that we sold their house, or that we're looking, or that we overcame some obstacles, and in the end, it's always a very happy-go-lucky time where we're able to close, and we share that, and offer my contact information so that I could help other people in the same spot.
And do you do that as an ad, or you do that just as organic posting when the day comes?
I do that as organic posting. I think I have over 2,000 friends on Facebook, which most of them I know personally. So it's great. I just have a good group of people that I might not see them in 2 years, and then they go, "Oh my God, your kid is so cute." I have a 15-month-old, and post a lot about him. And it's crazy how much, even though you're not in direct contact all the time, how much people are still following, and how much I'm following everybody else, and just continuing the cycle that way.
Now, do you implement that sort of strategically in the sense of like, okay, sometimes you go to real estate classes and they'll talk about using social media as a way to stay connected with what's happening in people's lives, and then maybe send them a personal message instead of just commenting on their wall, or maybe I see what's going on and instead of liking it, I actually call them, or I send a note, or I send a little gift. I mean, do you use that as a strategy, or is it more just like you said, organic?
It's more organic. I've found, and like I said, I've been doing this for 11 years. We never had a big company structure. I never had the CEO of Remax or anything like that as training strategies. So I've looked into a lot of it myself, and I've done a lot of trial and error I've done a lot of reading and research, and, you could do the 10 touch rules, you can do all of these things. And for me personally, I find that if I tried to do all of that in an exact structure, that I would fall off and get a little bit more discouraged that maybe I only did 9 touches or something like that. I probably follow the rules that I set too much. So I just kind of put in a personal good business practice where I follow up with the people I care about. I do, I help the people that I'm working with, and I genuinely care about the people that I'm working with. And that seems to be the best business practice for me and the company.
Awesome. Now, how much of the marketing that you do is you just handle your own marketing, or because of your degree, did you kind of come into the family business and start supporting the entire company's marketing efforts?
I did give everything a facelift when I came in. Our website is Long Beach Island, the number 4 sale, which also my personal website is cjlbi.com. I worked with Delta Media Group. I pretty much built that from the ground up. We did some, custom designs on that specifically tailored to Long Beach Island, which was kind of cool. We did a whole map, interactive search map of Long Beach Island, which never existed before. So we've done a lot of that type of stuff. But I have a couple other things too. I do a email campaign, which is through Outbound Engine. And that takes a weekly newsletter that's geared towards my business and kind of creates it and sends it out. And it's a good thing for people to read. Creates a lot of value for my customers and clients who like to stay on top of that thing.
Awesome. And is your business model for generating your own business very similar to your dad and your uncle, or are you guys all kind of doing things in your own personal style?
We're very similar in the fact that it's all value oriented, and it's very customer centric, and it's very relationship oriented, where word of mouth, we know a lot of the local business owners, very similar to what I know that you practice, is putting a lot of people in touch with local contractors and servicemen, professionals and attorneys and mortgage lenders and all that stuff. And just helping people out in general, which then, in return, comes back on it tenfold.
Awesome. And talk to me about the fact that, I mean, I kind of made that assumption earlier, but we actually really didn't talk about that. Is a good portion of your business second homeowners that are coming from out of LBI, or do you, because you grew up there, do you have a pretty healthy mix of primary residence transactions as well?
Long Beach Island is ever changing. So when I grew up there, I went to the grade school on Long Beach Island, which not many people can say that these days. We had 24 kids in a class. There was 2 schools on Long Beach Island. Actually, the Beach Haven School, I believe, had 12 kids in an entire grade. So it's a very small knit community of primary residences, which is dwindling now. It's even smaller and smaller, and it's more second homeowners and vacations and rentals, as opposed to primary residences on Long Beach Island. It has changed and evolved towards that. Luckily, growing up there and having a lot of friends and knowing a lot of family, we got to know the people who were coming down on vacation, who own the second home and were down for the entire summer. And that's where a lot of our referrals come from. And, a lot of people that we've made family over the years, and it's been great.
Sure. And do you guys do anything as a family company for your clients in the way of events or anything? Just sounds like, because you're so relationship based, I just imagine maybe you guys might do something like that.
We actually, we did have an event spot, if you want to call it. We had a private island, and we used to throw a yearly 4th of July party out there, where most of our clients would come out to that and have a lot of fun. And we didn't have anything set basically towards business, but we do tend to include our clients, and we are very close to our clients, and luckily get to see them a lot over the years.
That's awesome. Didn't you mention something about an open house boat tour before we were recording? And we didn't really dig into that, but I'm curious. So what exactly did you do there?
Yeah, so I actually had an ad in the local paper where I was able to, I had a listing that you could only get to by boat. And that kind of sparked the idea that why don't we take some people through the other bayfronts, and the other waterfronts. So set up a very unique open house tour where I asked the other agents who had, waterfront properties, if I could show their properties while I show the other one, and kind of do a caravan, but on the boat and in the sun and having fun.
Fun. So who did you invite to that?
It was an ad in the local paper, and people would call in and say, "Hey, I want to go on your boat tour. I'm interested in doing it." So I met a lot of, I know, right? It was fun. It was fun. So I got to meet a lot of fun people, and that's a very intimate way to, they automatically have to trust you. Yeah. Hopefully. So,
were you driving the boat?
Yeah, of course.
Wait,
so
is it your boat?
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know why. I was picturing like a sunset dinner cruise type of boat that you filled with like 100 people or something. So how many people?
No. It would be like 7 people at a time. About,
So cool.
So it's a pretty, like I said, intimate way to meet people that leaves a lasting impression, so that they normally don't forget who you are after that.
And is there like a cooler of adult beverages or what?
I didn't have any adult beverages on the tours, just for. Yes, there might have been a few at the stops we made, but not for me.
Awesome. What are some other things that you've done there in Long Beach Island to generate exposure? Because you mentioned a couple other fun ideas that I think you should share.
Yeah, well, some of the interesting things is a buddy of mine started a marketing company that did floating billboards that would actually be towed behind a boat or moored in the bay in places where people would see them. And I was actually his first customer. and we kind of took that on, and I have a lot of fun pictures from that I posted on Facebook. And that was another memorable thing, to be sitting on the beach and see your face float by. It was.
Yeah. So did you just have your face and like the contact information, or did you have some kind of like fun slogan or anything?
Yeah, we didn't have a fun slogan on it. It was basically just like a billboard that you would see, kind of a crazy business card, if you will, that we had towed behind the boat, and we had some fun with that, and I'm sure a lot of people remember that as well.
Did you get a lot of random text messages from people telling you that they just saw you float by?
Yeah, they're like, I just saw your head float by.
Well, I have to share this, which I've never shared on the podcast, but so the office that I'm at in Winter Park, Colorado, has it's an outdoor mall, and when I moved to a storefront in this space, they offered a lot of marketing, so some exposure on the lit sign out front, and then on their social media and their website. And then I got an email saying, do you want to be on the bathroom stall advertising? And I just wasn't really thinking about it. I just said yes, and they drew up an ad from some content from my website. And then all of a sudden it just occurred to me, because this is also a really small town where everybody knows everybody. I'm like, I don't really know if I want to get a text message of somebody seeing my face in the bathroom. I think having a floating billboard is way more classy. But, needless to say, people are still seeing my face. So maybe
you can't knock it until you try it. Actually, what reminds me, do you know Moriarty's in Philadelphia?
Yeah.
The restaurant?
Yeah. So
they have in the men's stall, they have a picture frame with a slot where everybody drops their business cards in. So that's where we had our rehearsal dinner for my wedding. So I dropped the business card in there, and it landed right in the front where no one can get in front of it. And I've had people from my hometown be like, I saw your face in a Philadelphia bathroom one time. So I have a similar story. And hey, if you're everywhere, you're everywhere.
A lot of bad ways.
Yeah, it is what it is. You have to embrace it.
Exactly. Shameless promotion. I love it. So I do want to talk about something that is pretty tragic that you endured, which was Hurricane Sandy. And we haven't had a discussion yet on this podcast about how natural disasters have affected our business or our lives, of course, more than anything. And it's interesting because when you're in our industry, especially in the lending world, we work for a national mortgage bank. So whenever there are natural disasters like hurricanes and floods and all kinds of things, we see how it's impacting things. So I would love to hear firsthand, what it was like going through that, how it impacted your life. I know you moved off the island, and what did that look like for real estate in general?
Oh, it was crazy. First of all, it was the single most changing thing for everybody's lives. I mean, even today, 10 years later, when you speak with homeowners that lived on the water, I mean, it's like it happened yesterday. I actually stayed on the island for the storm. I was one of the stupid people that had made that decision, which luckily everybody was fine and we were in a very safe spot. But witnessed firsthand before most of the first responders were even there, the devastation. I mean, I remember looking at my own house, standing on the sand, looking down at my front door because there was 6 foot of sand washed entirely through the entire property, the entire street, everything. So we have a building company as well, which then switched focus from real estate to building pretty quick. We renovated 40 homes, I believe, 42 homes within a half mile radius, just because that many people needed us. And just the fact of looking at going, what the heck are we going to do? Like, where do you even start? What even happens? So luckily the town handled everything great. The state handled everything great. And it was a long road before real estate was even an idea. It was another 6 months before I even thought about real estate after that. but it has changed. I had a very close person to me tell me, I want you to take this and turn this into a positive. And I think it was actually one of the most positive things in my life that this happened, because, you know, you figure out what's important to you and you act on those things. And the people that we helped, you know, get their homes back into shape are clients that I helped sell their houses after that. And it's been a very interesting learning curve, because 50% of my business is waterfront homes. And we never had to worry about elevation certs and letters of non-substantial damage and all of the rules that go within selling waterfront homes that makes it so much more complicated these days. It's been a learning curve, but it's been for the better. And we took a terrible tragedy and turned it into something positive. And I think that's, you know, what I like to take from it.
Sure. So I think it's fascinating. You'd mentioned the building company, but I didn't think about how that would come into play. How did it go for some of your colleagues during that time when, like you said, I mean, nobody thought about real estate for 6 months because it was just devastation at that point.
Yeah.
Like what was going on?
People who were patient made out very well. The entire landscape changed on Long Beach Island because so many of the original Cape Cods that were there that weren't raised, that got substantially damaged, that maybe people were waiting a couple of years to tear down and rebuild, or wanted to raise it and rebuild it. It was like, now's the time. Like let's just do it now. So there's so much new construction going on, and so much renovation, and it actually in the long term helped our local economy, even though it was such a terrible thing. And at first it seemed like it would never get better, but everybody helping anybody who wasn't scamming anyone is doing well and bringing more money into the local economy, which is making it easier and better for people to spend money. And it's helped the market grow. We've been growing on an uptrend since 2012, more than I've ever seen previously.
So that's interesting. Is it I guess is the development pretty well caught up now, or are you still seeing? Is there still recovery? You know, doing?
Long Beach Island is its own beast. So it has always been its own market and never really followed the ups and downs of the local market. 2008, it didn't get hit as hard as the surrounding areas. So if you talk about the waterfronts on the mainland, like Mystic Island, Beach Haven West, and all those places, there is still recovery going on to this day. There's still damaged homes that haven't been touched. There's still properties that were started and never finished. But Long Beach Island recovered very quickly, but that doesn't pertain to the new construction that's going on and everybody's overall goal. So there's still a ton of construction going on, but most of that is investors and business and primary residences and, you know, secondary homes as opposed to storm related.
Interesting. So changing gears a little bit and coming back to the family business thing, you had mentioned that when you started, that your mom and dad started and your aunt and uncle, and then you mentioned that currently the only family members are you and your dad and your uncle, and then you've got other folks in the company. So are your dad and uncle, do you guys do any overlapping business? Do you support each other so that you can travel, or do you pretty much all handle your own pipeline and could just kind of cover it on your own?
Most of it is we do it on our own. My father and I work hand in hand in some aspects where I do most of his paperwork. Like I said, he does a lot of development. So for example, we took one of the oldest homes in Beach Haven, which is a town on Long Beach Island, was sitting in the middle of a 6-lot subdivision, which hadn't happened yet. So what he does is he helps homeowners do subdivisions like that. We actually picked up the house and moved it onto a lot, subdivided it into 6 lots and sold the other 5 lots. So he does projects like that, whereas I do mostly single family sales and everything. But we handle most of our stuff on our own, but when we need help, we're always there to back each other up.
Awesome. And have you, worked on your business plan yet for 2019? Do you know, like, have you mapped out what your goals are for going forward?
Yes, we've to a certain extent. I could probably tailor it a little bit more, but I just brought on another agent who's going to be helping me with some buyers leads. Every year we're looking for at least a 10% increase in sales. We are kind of dialing down on our CRM program and making sure that we do the follow-up that we need to be doing with past clients and potential clients, which I think is one of the most important things and is not the easiest thing to do. Sometimes it can always be put off till tomorrow. So we are focusing on, taking the business that we've grown, but keeping that in-house and not having to reach out to get new business where we're actually, keeping our old business and keeping our past clients happy and getting referrals from them.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I think that the database is honestly where all the, opportunity and abundance awaits essentially. And it's easy to forget that and be always sort of forward thinking. But if we stop and we look back and we look all around, I think there's opportunity abounds even when there are shifts happening in the market or anything. So I don't know, are you guys experiencing any changes in inventory right now? Like, I don't know how it is on LBI. I know out here we're starting to see a shift in the way the market is going from a seller's market to a little more balanced right now.
Yeah, I've noticed a lot of the prices have been creeping up and creeping up. And as we see interest rates get a little bit higher, what I've noticed in Long Beach Island, but also more the surrounding areas, is there's not as much inventory. There's a lot of foreclosures out there, but most are not in the condition for somebody with an FHA loan that's looking for their first time home. So competition has been extremely tough for the lower end properties in the surrounding area. And there have been less people putting their house on the market because it's harder to find something better than what they're in. Whereas 2 years ago, that wasn't the case. They could sell and it was still affordable enough and interest rates were low enough that it made sense to make a move. Where I'm starting to see a trend towards people staying where they're at or taking longer to make that decision and looking a little bit longer is what I've been noticing in the past few months.
Sure. So other question I've got for you is in regards to, I'm just curious if it's similar for you as it is for me, but so being in the mountains, we're about an hour and 15 minutes from downtown Denver. And I go to Denver a lot for real estate classes, conferences, continuing education, mastermind groups, et cetera, because I don't find as much of that in the small town that we're in. Is that similar for you, or do you guys have access to a lot of your CE classes and I guess accountability, masterminding, that kind of thing? Do you find a lot of that on the island, or would you kind of have to get off and get onto the mainland to find those kinds of resources?
Yeah, you normally have to get off the island. They do a yearly realtor convention down in Atlantic City. That's a lot of fun to go to. That's where a lot of people get their CE credits. Our board of real estate is in Toms River, which is about a 35-minute drive north. So we have to hop off, and we tend to do it in the winter because you want to stay on the island and enjoy the sun in the summertime. Yeah.
So in regards to that, is the company that your family started, Davies and DeGeneiro, is that its own entity, or are you guys part of a larger real estate organization?
Nope, it's a sole proprietorship. So my father started it, and we're privately owned and privately managed, and we enjoy it. We like it that way. We like our freedoms, and being able to make our own decisions. It's helped us, I think, as opposed to hindering us.
Yeah, totally. Awesome. Well, I really appreciate you taking the time to be on the show today. And just curious, if somebody wants to get in touch with you, if they're curious about buying and selling an LBI, or maybe they're looking to refer business to you because they're off the island or whatever, what's the best way to reach you?
Sure. You can go to my website, which is cjlbi.com. You could shoot me an email at cjdavies3@gmail.com, or my shoot me a text message. I'm fine with that. 609-713-8952.
Awesome. All right. Well, I wish you continued success and look forward to seeing how the future plays out for you, CJ. I appreciate you being on the show.
Awesome. Thank you, Erin. I really appreciate it.
All right. And as always, listeners, I'm always begging you to please, if you're enjoying the content you're finding here, make sure you subscribe to the podcast on iTunes and then scroll down and leave a review, because it helps us attract awesome guests from all over the country and actually all over the world, because we're having our first international guest coming up soon from Canada. So that's exciting. But we're always looking to attract great guests and make sure that we continue to bring awesome content to all the real estate agents out there. So do us a favor, leave us a review and send us a feedback, or let us know if you know someone who should be on the show. Hope you're doing awesome, and I appreciate all of you. Have a great day.